There's a huge difference between being busy and being productive. We check 100 things off our to-do list, but when we slip into bed at night and our heads hit the pillow, we think, why didn't I get more done? We feel unsatisfied, unsuccessful, and unhappy even though we were busy all day long. Productivity is not about doing more, it's doing what's most important. We feel overwhelmed not because we have too much to do, it's because we don't know where to start. Productivity expert Tanya Dalton has developed her Live Well method to help us with that, to cut through the clutter and noise in our lives and discover the happiness that comes when we center our lives on what is truly important to us and joyfully miss out on the rest. At Read and Grow, we believe that books can change your life. Whatever your situation is, someone out there has gone through the same and shared the lessons in a book. Subscribe and join us on our quest to solve problems one book at a time. In her book, The Joy of Missing Out, Tanya Dalton devises the following 4 steps to help us live a life that feels meaningful. Discover your priorities, find clarity, create simplicity, and achieve harmony. Step 1. Discover your North Star. We all have 3 key resources available to share with the world: time, energy, and focus. Each of these elements, though, is a depleting commodity. Once it's invested, it's gone forever. By far, these are the most valuable resources we have to give. But in an effort to make our buckets feel like they are somewhat even, we spread these resources out far and wide, making little to no impact. We end up stretching ourselves thin, exhausting ourselves. When we treat everything as equal, it means nothing is a priority. It all gets jumbled together, and we begin to lose sight of what really matters. We need to discover the priorities that are unique to us, but that means we must be willing to not have it all. It all starts with discovering our North Star. It's a combination of our mission, vision statement, and core values. Each one answers the question of who you are at your heart. The mission statement tells us what we are doing now, the vision statement tells us where we want to be, and the core values tell us how these can be defined through our actions. Like pieces of a puzzle, they come together to create the completed picture of why we make choices the way we do. They become the North Star we need to guide us and help us navigate through decisions. Decisions become easier when we have this foundation of confidence and clarity. Step 2. Find clarity. When we simply cannot get more time, we can change our mindset on how we spend our time and where we focus our energy. 1. Set goals and create boundaries. Setting goals helps us to clarify what we want to accomplish. It tells us where to focus our energy and our time. To give yourself the space to focus, set boundaries between the areas of your life. This allows you to focus on each area within its own time so that each is treated as a priority in its dedicated space. Give each role in your life the opportunity to shine. Boundaries allow you to do that. 2. Create priority lists instead of to-do lists. To-do lists make us feel busy but don't make us productive. They keep us running all day long, never moving us closer to where we want to be. We need to curate a list that highlights the route our North Star is guiding us toward, where each day we use our energy to get closer to our purpose and the big dreams and goals that go along with our North Star. We want a priority list. A priority list helps us look at the limited time we have so that we can choose where to spend our precious energy. 3. Use the Parkinson's Law to your advantage. This law states that if we give ourselves a week to complete a 2-hour task, that task will increase in complexity and fill that week. While the 2-hour task itself doesn't need the extra time, it's actually the stress and tension of having to get it done that fills the space. Since the majority of that time is not necessary for the project itself, we can flip it on its head. If we do the opposite, if we shorten the time allowed for a task, we can use this law to our advantage to intensify our focus and make life easier. Step 3. Create simplicity. Create simplicity by integrating systems in your life. Systems are a key part of living the life we want, because while it's important to spend time focused on priorities, we still have all the other tasks to do. There are the not-so-glamorous activities like home maintenance, managing finances, getting dinner on the table, laundry, and it's not discipline you need, it's simple routines that play to your strengths and your weaknesses to make life feel easier. Using routines frees up your mental space so you can allow your brain to focus its energy on what really matters in your day. Our days can rush past like the fast-moving currents of the river while challenges and obstacles seem to appear from nowhere. But if we give ourselves the gift of structure and design our lives to work for us, we will be free to enjoy the ride, even when it gets a little bumpy. Here are a few tips to help you create structure in your day. Take your time to determine the steps that are achievable today. We often set ourselves up for failure by putting far too much on our plates. Ask yourself, what can I accomplish today? It's okay to start small and allow your capacity to grow. Small steps are better than no steps. Create space in your day by using batching. Batching is intentionally collecting similar activities for an intentional block of time to maximize time, energy, and focus. Fill your calendar first. A wide-open calendar is an invitation for others to cram it full with their priorities and demands rather than your own. Fill your calendar with your priorities before you allow others access to your time. Never leave a task or a project without knowing how you will pick it back up. You want to return your tasks with the same momentum. Step 4. Achieve harmony. Balance doesn't exist, and we don't want it to exist. If all things are balanced, there can be no movement or growth. Everything would stand still. Magic doesn't happen when life is centered and balanced. It happens when we lean into our priorities. When we start concentrating on what is truly important to us, we will go out of balance. We need counterbalance to make our lives work. We need harmony. 1. Harmonize white space. When we think about being productive, we believe we will need to fill our day completely so we can do as much as possible. In reality, to be truly productive, we need to give our brains a little space to play and explore, some unstructured time. Periods of rest are not a reward for great work, but are a requirement for great work to happen. When we leave white space available, open spaces of unrushed time, we can slow down and fall deeper in love with our priorities. That's the joy of missing out. 2. Harmonize your yes. People are constantly pulling on us, calling to us, asking us to say yes, and it can get loud with all the requests for our time. If we need to pass on an opportunity, we first need to accept that it's okay to say no. After all, every time we say yes, we say no to something else. We often forget that saying no to a request is not a rejection of the person. Separate the two and find the courage and compassion to communicate your no in a thoughtful way. Did the message of this book resonate with you? There's another great book on priorities and time management that we really recommend. First Things First by Stephen Covey.